Hey everybody, how are we doing? Alright, well, yes, it's been a little hiatus since we've uploaded any content. I just sort of stopped playing Magic for a bit there. Well, Rhinos, not great when your hand is getting shredded by grief. But, this Temur Stifle deck, top 4 the Sunday Challenge. And I like what this thing's doing. I mean, Stifle doing stuff against grief and hitting Traxa triggers. Good against Rhinos, of course. Countering initiative triggers. So it seems pretty well positioned. Some sweet cards in here. The Mighty Klothys in the sideboard. There's one I haven't had on camera in some time. The new Pick Your Poison. Nice answer for carpet out of opposing decks and other stuff. And we're not playing like Delver of Secrets, which gets eaten by Orcish Bowmaster. I guess that's part of my hiatus from Magic was we just can't play a fair blue deck without Orcish Bowmaster, it seems. Well, we're going to try it today. Stifle makes it a lot harder for your opponent to get to 3 mana to play Orcish Bowmaster around Daze. So we kind of have a plan here, which I like. Yeah, all right, let's get into it. Temur tempo with a bunch of stifles. It's not exactly rocket surgery. All right, we're going to start round 1 on the play. It's always good when playing a stifle deck. I'm going to keep... I wonder if the Volcanic Island or the Tropical Island, like which one's less suspicious. Probably people are expecting Stifle at this point. With the amount of play it's seeing in the metagame. Alright, opponent did mulligan to 5, so we're going to try to not screw this up. I guess I am just going to Volcanic Island pass. Well, they do the old Delta crack, and we're going to Stifle. They're going to force. Well, I'll Daze back if they're forcing. Alright, Stifle resolves. That's pretty much how we drew it up, except we did have to Daze, so we're down a mana. But so's the opponent. Well, we drew another Stifle, and so that has the potential to be pretty ridiculous. Okay, but the opponent is bricking on lands. So since I have multiple Brainstorms here, I am just going to Brainstorm. So these lands help us get Uro into play, so I don't hate them. Yeah, I'm going to put the fetch lands on top and just try to get Uro into play here and get this game won. Let's see. I know I have the land on top, and I can just play the Uro and Stifle it next turn. And also, we have the option of holding up Stifle this turn. Okay. So we'll get Taiga. Play Uro. I kind of don't need to squander my Stifle here. I can just play it again next turn. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to do that. We have double Daze to force it through. We can... Okay. All right. Uro is coming on the stack. That's a win. So I assume my opponent's on Delver of some kind. What with the Baubles and forces. So I would potentially want all of these cards in a Delver matchup. Flusterstorm's not too insane either. I'm definitely taking out the forces. mean, if they're playing Bauble, they pretty much have to be playing Dragon's Rage Channeler, which means I want all these crazy cards. I don't mind cutting a Stifle on the draw. Brazen Borrower is slightly underwhelming. Maybe I can make do without a Pyroclasm. Alright. Well, I'm definitely keeping this turn 1 carpet hand backed up by Daze. So my opponent's doing the old Volcanic Island pass. I wonder if they're playing Stifle. The carpet is in with no resistance. That's crazily good for us. Let's make a red, get Dragon's Rage out. They're going to Brainstorm here. I guess I'm not going to Daze this Brainstorm. Alright, Dragon's Rage is in. It's Volcanic Island number 2 for the opponent, which is going to charge up our carpet, so that's cool. And a Dragon's Rage from the opponent. I think it's worth dazing. I'll get some Surveil action going on here. If this gets countered, I don't think that's the worst. Stifle, I'm just going to put stuff in the graveyard to feed Murktide. Okay, so that resolved. So, we drew Stifle again. Alright, so I guess I'm making blue here. And playing Ponder. Brainstorm. We already have cantrips. Another Dragon's Rage and more lands. It's kind of awkward. I could Surveil Dragon's Rage into the graveyard, but then that would just be brainstorming into some tropical islands, so I'm just going to shuffle. I am going to brainstorm. So this gets me awfully close to having the Delirium. Okay, now we certified have the Delirium. So do I want to Wasteland my opponent here? It makes our carpets worse, but carpet's still pretty good. Well, I can play Murktide next turn is the thing. So maybe now is not the time to Wasteland. I kind of do want all this mana is the thing, and I don't really want to Surveil it into the graveyard just yet. Although I have this carpet, so maybe like one land is plenty, and I just want the Scalding Tarn to get Volcanic Island. So I'm going to put back Tropical Island, Lightning Bolt, and I think I can Surveil away a Lightning Bolt. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and fetch right now. Yeah, that gives me the Delirium. I guess I'd get that from the Bauble anyway. Pyroblast. Alright, well that's good against Murktide. Okay, well Uro is a pretty fine draw here. So, I guess the thing about shuffling away my Tropical Island is it's going to make it harder. If I had the Tropical Island, I could have the carpet make blue and then stifle my Uro into play. Although maybe against Daze, that's not so good. We'll see what they're doing here at any rate. Ponder. I noticed that I failed to bring in Pick Your Poison, which also answers opposing Murktides. A Delver. Alright, well that's not very scary. I guess I'm going to snap off a Bolt here. If they want to fetch, gets me awfully close to Uroing. Okay, another mana. Well, that helps me Uro. Yeah, I like the lands with Uro. I'm going to do the attack here. They might crack their Tarn, and I might not stifle it. Alright, so we're not Pyroblasting. We drew a Trop. I think I am Wastelanding my opponent. We can put them down to 1 mana. They're going to have to use... We're going to be able to like hardcast Uro here, I think. I'm not super worried about it. I guess I'll just do this right now while they're light on mana. Okay. The opponent is cracking that fetch. I am going to stifle. Stifle is not going to get much better. And I get free Surveil. Pyroblast, I think we can keep. Alright, they're blowing their Pyroblast on my Stifle, so that's cool. And that means we get to play Uro around Daze. So maybe they have a second Pyroblast is what's about to happen here. So I'll make some green. Man, I should have saved this for the second main. I can probably Uro successfully here and not lose the Delirium. As long as I leave the artifact in. Well, that's a minor. I hemorrhaged some value there. Oh man, I blew it. Okay, they have another Pyroblast, so that gives me the Delirium back, at least. Okay. Alright, the opponent's going to play their own Murktide. Yeah, I'm going to let that resolve. And then just Pyroblast it when I'm playing around Daze. So we're going to do it correctly this time. Now I have my own Daze, so now we really can't lose. Let's Pyroblast the Murktide. Get some Surveil. Yeah, Misty can go in the graveyard. Here's a Force. Oh, the opponent is playing Stifle. Here's the Daze. This is going in the graveyard, whatever it is. Yeah. I just want to keep my graveyard full. Alright, the Pyroblast happens. Get in for 3. Uro's gonna join the fray. And I guess I'm exiling Instance. Make sure I don't lose Delirium. But I'm sure Murktide's going to be fine here. Okay. So yeah, the opponent is playing Stifle. They ostensibly aren't playing green, and our green splash is going well over the top of what our opponent's doing. Or maybe they are playing green, and we're just stifling all their fetch lands. But, that is the thing about playing Stifle Rug, is you can actually absolutely smash fair decks on the play. Well, you smash a lot of things on the play, and then you're just trying to bend but not break on the draw. All right, we won the die roll again, and it's another crazy hand with Stifles, so here we go. All right, the opponent keeps 5. We'll play a Misty and pass. They're playing a Wooded Foothills. I wonder if it's a crazy Stifle mirror. Okay. Well, it is kind of like shooting a fish in a barrel when they mull to 5 and we're on the play and have 2 stifles. Well, I'm sorry, opponent, but this is why we play 4 copies of Stifle. Alright. Dragon's Rage. I mean, is that better than playing Uro? It has to be correct to play Uro, right? And draw my card. Alright, Uro triggers are on the stack. Oh, my opponent is on Rhinos. So they did get me to use my Stifles. But I think they're gonna have a hard time winning this counter war. I guess I'll bounce the Tropical Island. I'm gonna be playing Dragon's Rage for sure off the Volcanic Island next turn. Alright, there's a concession. So unfortunately, I think this is probably a pretty rough matchup. Our deck is super... I mean, they do play Endurance. That's a good card against us. But it's going to be hard for them to do much else. But Endurance is really only good against Dragon's Rage and not so much the rest of our deck. I feel like Rhinos is probably not a carpet matchup. You could plausibly bring in Surgicals. We're on the draw here. Daze is probably pretty bad against all their spirit guides. Maybe something like this is okay. I mean, if they just have one island, Carpet of Flowers is an unkillable Birds of Paradise. But I'm sure it's not going to be insane in this matchup. Alright, I'm going to try this. Well, this hand has Force and Stifle, so I like what's going on here. Alright, the opponent cleverly plays around Carpet. Wasteland's not a bad one against my opponent's deck here. I guess I'm going to use this on myself and see if I want to draw what's on top. I probably do want to draw a Force. Nice, so there's a... That'll turn on our Carpet. Alright, so I'm gonna go for something here. Play the Tropical Island. Play Carpet. Go into my second main and then play Ponder. I think I'm not super worried about this Mystical Dispute. I mean, obviously we're out of gas if we have to double force some Cascade action here. That was the risk, but... I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, I'm going to do this on their end step. And so if they want a Violent Outburst, they don't have Force Negation backup, although... probably are boarding out Force Negation. You know, I guess if I'd waited until my turn, I'd have Stifle up. So I kind of have the regret about that. So I'm going to force these Rhinos. Okay, well that worked. And they're down on mana. Okay, Dragon's Rage is a fine draw. Yeah, that Wasteland was not a great play. I guess I'm gonna do this now. All right, they're not Violent Outbursting. Okay, I'm okay with Force. That's a fine draw. I feel like we're in a pretty okay spot now. If we ever draw Uro, it's just unbeatable. And Murky Reg is pretty unbeatable also. They do have red mana. Okay, we get to add to the board though. So a Violent Outburst isn't so scary. They're gonna Mystically Dispute my Dragon's Rage. I guess I have to let this go. I mean, I'd like to force it, but I also need to force Endurance, and I have a threat in play. Alright, there we are, passing the turn over there. I don't hate drawing blue cards. Their clock is getting low. Or, you know, by clock I mean they've got 3 more turns. So they are going for the Minskin Boo. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to force this. If we have to force twice, I don't think it's the end of the world. Brainstorm, I can probably keep on top. So they're forcing. We're forcing. So Endurance is like a good one if they get that down. Most other things, though, not so scary. I guess I'll just fire off this Brainstorm now. You know, I think my opponent is pretty smartly just playing into Daze there. You probably do want to board out your Dazes if you're a smart tempo player against Rhinos. I'm just thinking as a bit of a Rhinos player myself. All right, do I want this Ponder? If I Brainstorm into all bricks, I'm going to be upset about putting this Ponder in the graveyard. They're at pretty low life. See, now I'm glad I did that. So we'll put this Tropical Island in the graveyard. Like Uro or Murktide is what I want to see here. Brazen Borrower. I mean, that's certainly good against... I don't know. Probably not enough to make me really want to keep. The opponent is going to waste me on the upkeep? No. So I am going to fire off this Brainstorm. A Pyroblast. I don't think it's very good at this stage. A Stifle. I guess I don't have any choice but to keep these cards. Hydroblast is probably the most interesting to keep in hand. Like Stifle can stifle an Endurance trigger, but that's not very meaningful here. Hydroblast can counter a Boo. I suppose Stifle could do work against a Boo also. Not many players play Murktide Regent in their Rhinos list like I do. I guess I'm going to roll with a Stifle. I'm in a bad spot if they have Endurance, though. Okay. Just got to survive one more turn. Maybe they're trying to hard cast Lorien Revealed. I don't know. Maybe Stifle doesn't really do anything, but See, if I keep Pyroblast, it's easy for them to waste me off the red source. Petty theft. Okay. So yeah, here's where Stifle is useful, because they should... Well, they can't waste me off of red, can they? So they can play the Brazen Borrower, but then we can just Pyroblast it and attack for the win, in theory. You know, unfortunately, I boarded out all my lightning bolts. See, they probably should have, like, wastelanded my red source. We're going to give this a shot. Murktide, that's what we want to see. Okay. All right, a little drawn out in game 2, but there you have it. All right, well, we won another die roll. The old 5-lander. I guess I'm going to mulligan. Okay. So what are the heuristics here? I mean, I'm going to keep and I guess put back Murktide Regent. Now, I could just play a turn 1 Ponder and try to advance my position here. Or I could hold up Stifle and hope I get to get another opponent with Stifle. The thing is it's real awkward if I pass and do nothing and they don't walk into Stifle. Although, maybe with this end of turn Brainstorm as an option, it's not so bad. Alright, I'm just going to get Volcanic Island and pass, actually. A Ponder. Alright. Alright, and I guess I don't want to play into turn Brainstorm, and I'm just going to Ponder here. Murktide Regent and Brazen Borrower. Yeah, these seem like okay draws. I'll draw the Taiga, and I'm sure we'll be in a position to get Murktide Regent out soon. The opponent is, do I go all in on the Daze here? I think so. Where I got the Murktide Regent on my on top of my library, and I'm trying to build towards that. They don't walk into it. Well, that's okay with me. I'll just keep holding up Stifle. Alright, so we just pass it back into the opponent's turn here. Alright, they're going to get to resolve this Brainstorm. Alright, they're going to Surveil with Thundering Falls. Okay, so this is actually some kind of storm. Makes me want to wait on this Brainstorm. If this was like a tempo deck, maybe I'd be playing this Brainstorm because getting this Murktide Regent down quicker would be more important. This is kind of not the best because we don't have any answers for their Echo. All the Murktide Regents in the world. Well, I guess I'm going to play out the Taiga. Like, if the opponent plays Wheel, I mean, it'd probably be better to have access to a green mana than not. And, well, I meant to think about whether or not I want to stifle this, and I was probably going to, but I just clicked quickly, unfortunately. So maybe they don't go for the Echo here. So they're going to besiege the mirror. Well, I can't stop it. Gaia's Will. Yeah, I can't stop it. Dark Ritual. They got to get the Stifle out of my hand. And I don't know if they play interaction besides Veil of Summer. So their best bet is probably to wheel and try to get it out of my hand that way. See, unfortunately, I played the Taiga this turn. And that like minimized my chances of like being able to brainstorm into Stifle if they resolve the wheel. They're playing another Ponder. They're gonna besiege the mirror. The Song of Creation. If only I had a Force of Will. So I can petty theft this Song of Creation and take my chances against the wheel. Of course, if they have Veil of Summer, that would be pretty bad. I guess they can brainstorm in response. Alright, I guess I'm going to take my chances here with the petty theft. Well, they have the Veil. Alright, well... Alright, it's got to be pretty elementary to win for them at this point with a Song of Creation. And, yeah. A handful of stuff that I can't counter. Alright, I'm just going to scoop it up here. So, I guess if I hadn't bid on the petty theft, I could have just hoped that they bricked on 2 draws. I mean, the one card had to be Veil of Summer, although I guess it was pretty likely. So, at any rate, we have some cards we can bring in. The Lightning Bolt's not looking so hot. And I think Uro is a lot better than Murktide Regent in this kind of matchup. They probably are on the carpets. I boarded out a Stifle accidentally instead of a Chain Lightning. Meltdown in this matchup I don't hate. And I kind of don't hate Surgical either. Maybe I don't need my own carpets here. Alright, let's try this. They might get me with a crazy Xantid Swarm juke. I don't know how many Storm opponents are on Xantid Swarm these days. Alright, so this hand is pretty lacking in interaction. Although if they're on carpets, we do have the Pick Your Poison. And a Dragon's Rage Channeler to draw more stuff with. But I mean, it is 2 more lands than you'd really want. And none of this is especially good interaction. So I guess I'm going to mulligan. And I guess I'd have to agree that this hand looks better. Now that I'm thinking about it, the carpet, like I could play a Taiga here and play like carpet if it was in my deck. And then my opponent would, I wouldn't have any islands to trigger my opponent. I don't know how many carpets they're on or what storm decks like these are doing these days. Usually these decks don't play Ponder, but they are playing Ponder and they have a lot of red elemental blast targets. So I think maybe against like the Epic Storm where they just play like Brainstorm and then it seems like Ponder's basically been cut for Galvanic Relay. Where are my Stifles? Yeah, Pyroblast is not so good, but where they're playing Ponder, yeah, this Pyroblast is pretty sick. So we'll get to Wasteland this Underground Sea. I mean, we're pretty far from playing this Uro. What are you going to do? Okay, a Chrome Mox. That's my Meltdown's going to do some work here. So they're playing a Veil of Summer. So are their last two cards really like LED? Wheel? Well, suppose I force the Veil here. I still can't answer the LED wheel. I guess I don't love it, but I guess I have to do this. The thing is, if they LED wheel, I might as well have forced their Veil. And it looks like it is LED wheel. Well, we have force, so that's cool. They are passing. All right, let's try to draw something. Pick your poison. Okay, so we can get them off their Chrome Mox here. Do I get Taiga? It doesn't really... I haven't seen Carpet yet. Okay, well, they're not playing Carpet, so... Having that, like that Taiga instead of a blue mana can be pretty awkward. Maybe they'll Surveil Echo of Eons into the graveyard and I can Surgical it. They keep it on top, though. That's scary. I kind of do want to get this clock into play, so I guess I'm doing that. It is a blue card, but I can't possibly win without a clock. Brainstorm would be sick. Well, there's a clock. So I could play Dragon's Rage here, and then Ponder. I guess I might as well and look for something better. A blue card. It's not really like a Stifle would be can trump a bunch of things, and there in fact is a Stifle and a Wasteland. All right, Meltdown not looking super hot, but maybe Stifle can pull this one out. We'll let Ponder resolve. We're not stifling Bloodstained Mire at this point. I don't really see myself forcing Burning Wish either. I guess they could get Thoughtseize here, but forcing Burning Wish for Thoughtseize seems pretty crappy. So we know it's Meltdown on top of my deck and Wasteland below that. None of that is very interesting. I guess the Taiga's fine here. I have enough blue at this point. All right, well, Force of Negation's a pretty excellent draw. Thoughtseize. They are playing Thoughtseize. Man, if I Force a Negation this and then they Veil, it's an absolute beating. If I... I guess I'm going to hope they don't have Veil, but if they don't have Veil, we're in fine shape. Brazen Borrower is a blue card. I guess the Delirium would be better. I guess the good news is that, okay, if they did Veil and they went for a Galvanic Relay, The Galvanic Relay wouldn't happen until next turn. So yeah, I guess I'm stifling this. And then we're holding up Force for next turn. A Wasteland. I can Wasteland them off of black. I don't think that's very good. Okay, so they exiled their Gaia's Will. So that's got to put them in at least a somewhat tricky spot. The Mighty Uro. You know, as much as I'd love to play Uro here, we just get one more look, and then maybe we can't play Force of Will, so I guess we're going to hope that Force plus Surgical gets this done somehow. Here's a Ponder. They chose to shuffle. They're playing Veil. Well, I guess I'm forcing. See, we're not tapping mana there because the Uro really doesn't matter at this point. They'll die if we get to another turn. Then if they echo, we have 5 untapped mana to work with and 7 fresh cards. Okay, we're somehow still in this. You would think this matchup would be more favorable with all the stifles and whatnot. So they are in a Burning Wish version, which makes Hydroblast a little bit more interesting, and Hydroblast, or I mean, Daze is not so exciting on the draw. Although Surgical really not looking good. But I think I am going to bring in the Carpets and cut 2 Dazes on the draw. I mean, I guess the other thing is Pick Your Poison didn't seem very awesome. I could make that the Surgical. It doesn't seem like they're playing Carpets, but on the other hand, maybe they are playing Carpets, and that could be awesome. But it could be another Daze and just be a random blue card. Or it could be a Surgical, and maybe we get to pick off an Echo of Aeons. They got to be thinking about the Echoes. Okay, this is Brian Cook's Storm list, which does not play the Carpets from... and it does look like, you know, he's playing the 4 Ponders, so maybe this is what our opponent's on. Okay. So I'm going to not play the Pick Your Poison then. And there's 3 Echo of Aeons in Brian Cook's list here. But probably just a random blue card for our 6 forces. Alright. Daze has the ability to snag Veil of Summer sometimes. Okay. This is a pretty exciting hand here. Flusterstorm, Stifle, and Force are a bunch of hard counters for whatever they're trying to do. Alright. They can have a Ponder. They chose not to shuffle. A Carpet. Ooh. Ooh. I guess I'm going to hold up Interaction here. Kind of want to Brainstorm on my opponent's end step, I think. They're going to Brainstorm. That's cool. We're not even getting a red mana anyway with which to Pyroblast this Brainstorm. All right, they're cracking their Misty. They're getting that Thundering Falls. We bricked on lands. Classic. But we have double Force. That's pretty good. So am I going to Carpet and then play Ponder? I think so. I do have a Brainstorm I can play too if this somehow bricks. All right, Carpet is in. We're making some blue. We're playing some Ponder. Wasteland in Dragon's Rage. So I could waste my opponent off of black and try to get by with double force and then play Dragon's Rage next turn. It's pretty tempting. I only have like one shot to hit a land. I guess I had multiple shots with Brainstorm. Maybe that was foolish. I guess I'm committed. All right, Storm is hard to play against, and you know, it's my first recorded league in a while. They're cracking that Misty. They're going for it with a Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal, Lion's Eye Diamond, Mox Opal. So hopefully double force just beats them here, which it looks like it's gonna. So we're gonna force pitching Hydroblast. They're gonna Veil. They're not gonna Veil. They have Galvanic Relay. Dang, that's bad news. All right. The good news is we have some good trumps here, and maybe we can survive this turn. But we can force pitching Brainstorm on their Veil, and then hopefully beat their Beseech the Mirror. So yeah, we gotta force the Veil. Brazen Borrower, yeah, I'm just gonna put in the graveyard. All right, this force resolves. Playing a Ponder, a Thoughtseize. So the good news is we have both Stifle and Flusterstorm here. I guess I cannot counter the Thoughtseize. So the opponent gets to do their worst with Beseech. Take Flusterstorm. Hard cast Beseech. See, the thing is that Song of Creation I don't think is very good here. So I think they have to get the Echo, and at least we get to reload. They're Beseeching into Beseech. Okay. Oh, no, that's just the Beseech on the stack. The guy is Will. Yeah, and so they can just Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, and a bunch of stuff. They just have to Thoughtseize one more time here. Okay. Yeah, and they can just Beseech for Tendrils, and they've got it. So I deviated from my plan on that Ponder Brainstorm turn. And I guess it cost me. All right. All right, we're on the draw, and it's a mulligan. I'd say this is an acceptable kind of hand for a 6. Opponent's going to crack that Misty, get an Underground Sea, play Thoughtseize. They take Dragon's Rage. So I wonder if this is like not Reanimator or Scaminator. But I'll definitely play this Ponder. Daze and Wasteland. Well, Daze is some kind of interaction. And so is Wasteland. They want a Thoughtseize. Alright, they can take my Daze. They take Murktide. So Wasteland's going to be pretty good here. And now we have this Daze. Tropical Island. Interesting. Brazen Borrower that we knew about. A Ponder. Yeah, I mean, my opponent seems limited in what they can do. If I hardcast Daze here, I don't get to play Brazen Borrower next turn. I think I'm going to hardcast Daze, though. They'll still be set back on lands if they Daze back. They do Daze back. Okay, Tropical Island. Force of Negation. I mean, Force Negation seems like an okay one. They're pretty darn close to dead with all these bolts. So by the time I draw Force of Negation, it probably doesn't matter. Or by the time I can play it, I mean. I guess I'm going to put the Force of Negation in my hand. And they're going to be dead to bolts next turn if they do nothing. There's a Wasteland. So we are getting a Murky Reach. That's kind of bad news. All right, I'm going to Lightning Bolt, I think, my opponent here. And then if they attack, we just kind of get to Lightning Bolt them the rest of the way. So I guess it is Salty Beans playing the Thoughtseize. So if they attack here, they're dead. They don't attack. That's smart. I guess as long as they're not attacking, I'm going to be bolting them. Yeah, no attack here. A Witherbloom Command. All right, this is a fine target for my Force of Negation. They have Force of Will. They pitch Daze. Well, my own Murktide would be a pretty sweet draw here. I guess I'll play this Brainstorm. There's my own Murktide. Okay. So I can make... Oh, I can't play Murktide this turn. But we can Wasteland them off Underground Sea. And then we'll play a Murktide bigger than their Murktide. And hopefully win the game next turn. Well, they have the Misty. So we just got a Fade removal spell here. So there's the Murky. They're cracking their Misty though. Oh, is it Orcish Bowmaster? Because that would do it. Or they just have the removal spell. Alright, bummer. Okay, well, we have a bunch of good cards to bring in. So we just need 2 more cuts. I think that Chain Lightning is probably not that great. I mean, it does answer Orcish Bowmaster. Brazen Borrower bounces Murktide, but now we have Pyroblast. I mean, Bowmaster kind of is a problem. I don't like being super threat light though. But we do have the Klothys. I guess I'll try this. And this hand loses to Wasteland, but is otherwise has a bunch of good stuff going on. And if we do get Wastelanded, we can at least buy a little time. Okay. Look, we have another land drop in Wasteland, so the opponent's not immediately devastating us. All right, Dragon's Rage is in. All right, they've got a Fatal Push. Makes sense. They're gonna pass the turn. Another Wasteland. Well, I'm gonna Wasteland their Underground Sea and play Wasteland. If only I had a Stifle here. Okay, well, we're gonna Pyroblast this. All right. We do draw land. So I could tap out for a 4/4 Murktide. I think it's still worth doing. I just need to get a threat down. I don't have any especially great reactive spells here. Okay, now the opponent's dazing. All right. Oh, they're going to force, though. Okay, well, that seems like an okay exchange. It's too bad I couldn't have Veil up, but what are you going to do? I guess I should have played the fetch land. Which, because I might want to play a Brainstorm. But the opponent has their own Brainstorm and a Wasteland. Yeah, they can have the Wasteland on the Volcanic. So the good news is we do have more mana. And there's a Stifle. So it's going to be hard for them to get their colors underneath them. Although a Beanstalk right here is pretty good. Well, I'll take them off the tropical island and hope that they can't do a ton here. The opponent's drawing cantrips and we are not. All right, they do have a Misty that we can probably stifle, so hopefully they're limited on their lands here. We draw another Stifle. They're going to crack that Misty, so I guess I'm going to crack in response. Ideally, I would protect my Stifle with Veil. We could get blown out by Daze, though. All right, well, Stifle resolves. Another cantrip for the opponent. I chose not to shuffle. Well, at least we have the ability to deny them resources. Gonna stifle the polluted delta. All right, I'm gonna Veil with the Beanstalk trigger on the stack. So at least I get to draw a card. And I'm gonna take them off the Underground Sea in combat. And man, we just need to draw something. See, Lightning Bolt is just really bad here, which you kind of needed against their Bowmasters. All right, we finally drew a Ponder, so that's good. Dragon's Rage and a Stifle. All right, the opponent probably has removal anyway. Probably having this Stifle is important. Okay, well, they are stuck on mana here. All right, well, now we're going to play the Dragon's Rage. I guess it would have been a bunch of free turns of beatdown. But if they get mana under themselves, then they're in a really great spot with their Beanstalk. Now at least we can hope to kill them quickly here. But they'd be at quite a bit less life. They'd be at 9 here. Okay, well, Wasteland's a clutch draw. So at least we got that. All right, they're passing it back. Carpet. I'm going to play that mostly for the free Surveil. Don't need a Taiga. I guess maybe I should have played that pre-combat. Okay, we're going to stifle this. Okay. All right, we got there by the skin of our teeth that time. Yeah, so these lightning bolts are rough, but I probably have to keep in 4 just for the Orcish Bowmaster. I mean, on the draw, I guess I'm going to do it like this. I mean, I like having some forces. You still need some Dazes. They're going to be trying to play 2-drops when they don't have much mana. But I guess Stifle is a lot worse on the draw. Alright, let's try this. Alright, this hand has lands and spells. Ponder. So it's unfortunate that we don't have much interaction here. A Stifle. See, if they just play a Beanstalk on turn 2, it's pretty rough. It's going to be hard to keep up. So I think I'm holding up Stifle / Pyroblast here. Okay. And I'll let you have a Ponder. I chose not to shuffle. Murky Regent, that's a fine draw. They're going for the fetch, so we're going for the Stifle here. I think I am just gonna get Volcanic Island. We're away some Mattering, and I have another Dragon's Rage and a Pyroblast that I could want to play in the same turn cycle. Okay, so they're dazing, and that does set them back on mana at least. Alright, Dragon's Rage is in. It is very vulnerable to Bowmaster here. And here it comes. We drew Lightning Bolt, so that's pretty sick. I think I have to hope they don't have another copy of Daze. Although, it's like the one way for me to lose this game. But we also kind of have to take a chance here. I think I want the land. Okay, thankfully, the Bolt resolved. Shieldred's Edict. It's fine. Alright, so we can play Murky Regent here and hold up Pyroblast. Yeah, they're going to waste us off of Tropical Island here, but I just don't really see a way around that. Five Murky Regent is in. I think I'm going to Pyroblast this Brainstorm. Main phase Pyroblasts are pretty good ones to hit. And then, okay, well, they have another land. And it looks like they have that Black Delve removal spell. Murderous Cut. And thankfully they use their Wasteland. So we get to do the thing with Uro here. So I'm pretty excited about that. They did not attack either. Pick your poison. Okay, that could be good later. Pretty happy about getting to do this with Uro. It's way better than just being wasted off Trop and having it rot in my hand. Wow, we drew a land too. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this now, fire off this Brainstorm. Maybe we'll find the next land. I don't want to get hit by Bowmaster. Klothys, eh? Okay, I don't think I need to pick your poison right now. I'm gonna hide Klothys on top of my library. Although I could just hide the Ponder because we're definitely playing Klothys next turn and probably getting Wastelanded. So maybe Klothys into Uro here is going to get the job done. Wow, they're tapping up for Lorien Revealed rather than Wastelanding me. That's nuts. So I'm just going to get to play Uro here. I guess to be fair, if they had Wastelanded me, like the Klothys into Uro play would have been pretty sick too. I'll leave as many instants and sorceries in the yard as possible. It's just one. Draw Ponder, so I mean this is a pretty good spot. Even if they answer this, you know, we're playing Klothys, we got Pick Your Poison for a Beanstalk or a Murktide. Another Lorien Revealed. I mean that's okay, but it's not as good as attacking with Uro. So this is pretty excellent. A few things are more exciting than attacking with Uro. Drawing Force of Will in this kind of position is also pretty exciting. And a Dragon's Rage, okay? They're gonna block. So I am gonna summon the Mighty Klothys here. I guess I'm just gonna... They could Wasteland me off of my mana. Yeah, I'm just gonna hope they don't have Daze, and if they do... I don't think there's anything too game-breaking I have to worry about that I can't answer with Pick Your Poison. Thoughtseize. Okay. They take the Pick Your Poison. Interesting. An Orcish Bowmaster. So they can play a big Murktide. If I force this Orcish Bowmaster. Given that they took Pick Your Poison, that seems kind of like what the plan is. Or I could let them pick off Dragon's Rage and attack with Uro. Yeah, I think I'm just going to let the Bowmaster resolve. I mean, the one thing I'm worried about now is Murktide Regent. Okay, well they're not playing Murktide Regent. Well, if they ended up growing this Orc army a bit, I mean, I'll have Klothys getting in here with some reach, and Uro's going to be drawing me cards. So I got to think maybe we'll be okay, but we'll see. So I don't want them to get back Shieldred's Edict. And I'm going to attack with Uro. So we're going to be trading with their token. Okay. I guess I'll see what's on top of my library. Definitely going to shuffle that. Get the Taiga. And we're going to hold up Force here. So here's the Murky Rege. So are they able to win the counter war over this? No. Do they have another Murky Rege? They must, yeah. Okay. So we were right about the Murky Rege read. But yeah, see, they just unfortunately had 2x Murkies. So if we can ponder and find an answer for this thing, that'll be good. Lightning Bolt. So I could attack and then just bolt the Murky Rege. Okay, I got a plan here. So we can draw Lightning Bolt, attack, bolt Murky Rege, play Carpet of Flowers, get Uro back. We need Carpet down in the first main phase, so. Though I guess they're probably just going to block with the 2/2. And I misclicked through the attack. Oh, man. Well, I guess we're passing the turn. And we're going to see what they want to do with this Murky Rege. Okay, well, we do get to Daze as Witherbloom command. I guess I might as well hardcast it. So I'm going to do that. They're attacking with a whole squad here. Okay. So I kind of have to Klothys from my own graveyard, or it grows their graveyard, or grows their Murktide. And I think I just want to take out the Orcish Bowmaster. Now that everything's all messed up, but get to put Wasteland into play, take them off this tropical island, and we just got to survive here for 5 more turns and let Klothys do its noble work. No attack from the opponent. Okay. Force is a great draw. I could attack here and just try to draw a card. I guess I'm going to wait. All right, the opponent's just passing through their turn. Stifle. Okay, that's not a bad one. Although realistically, we're probably just pitching this Stifle to Klothys or Force of Will unless something exciting happens. They're attacking with Murktide Regent. Okay, that works for me. Gives me some space to attack. So I get to attack with my Uro then? Is that how it's going to be? Well, now that their thing is tapped and can't block, I mean, I'm way ahead on this race. So, I'm doing it. I didn't mean to activate Carpet. I was just trying to use Klothys. Yeah, their Murktide's an 8/8. That's cool. An Orcish Bowmaster. So I could just Veil here, and then we just have to Klothys for a few more turns. Or I could just force this. Yeah, I'm just going to force it and use Veil to protect Klothys. We just have to do that for a few more turns too. Okay, I guess we're Veiling. Okay, there's a concession. All right, well, we got there. That was a little sloppy at times, but the power of Uro and Carpet prevailed. Maybe Carpet not as much. Okay, we're on the draw for round 5. All right, we're going to finish this out with a solid round of Magic here. And pretty reasonable keep here. Only 1 land, but that's better than like 5 lands when we have cantrips and we're on the draw. It looks like my opponent's a Grixis control player. I'm not going to force a Thoughtseize. They take Ponder. Okay, that was going to be my turn 1 play. So do I play Volcanic Island and let them know what I drew for the turn? Probably worthwhile. I need to save this fetch land for Brainstorm. The opponent's going to Bloodstain Mire and pass here, so hopefully... Okay, so they're going to give me a chance to Brainstorm into Stifle here when they go to crack that, which would probably be my best chance to win this game. We brick. Okay, so we are... Well, Brazen Borrower, not the best threat. And probably Lightning Bolt is not either. Undercity Sewers. Okay. Brainstorm. And they are just passing the turn here. So I'm going to get the chance once again to try to find Stifle. I waited until my upkeep there. They see that tropical island. It's more likely they play around Stifle. But now that I've drawn Uro, I kind of just want to Uro. But I guess I'm going to wait a second and wait for them to crack this Bloodstained Mire. Getting to resolve its Stifle seems devastating. So here's my chance to Brainstorm. If they Bowmaster, we can Bolt. Okay, we did draw the Stifle. Don't really see myself forcing twice here. So probably just putting these forces on top. It is my opponent's turn. So Force of Negation probably gets the job done. Okay. I'm putting back the Force of Wills. And we're stifling. Stifle happens. They've got their mana underneath them. Cannot beat the Baleful Strix here, but the Baleful Strix is not very effective against the Uro. So I'm gonna get the Taiga. Well, maybe I should just get Tropical Island, actually. Okay. Yeah, I think playing the land first is fine before playing the Uro. Try to beat our opponent with Uro here, but they do play Cling to Dust. But if they do that on their turn, we have Force of Negation. Ooh, Wasteland is a fantastic, probably the best possible thing that could happen here. I don't have Force of Will to try to sneak this Uro through. I just have the Force of Negation. But the Force of Negation does answer the Cling to Dust. Okay, they're missing blue. They're getting in for 1. I guess I'm going to fetch on their end step. Another land. I guess keep it coming. So I'm going to make some mana. I suppose even if Uro gets countered here, we can just play it again. Force pitching Ponder. I mean, that's a little unfortunate, but like I say, we can just play it again. So I am going to force this pitching Daze. Okay, they don't have force again, so that's pretty clutch, I would say. See, the Cling to Dust has the crazy unearth thing, if you're unfamiliar, and is very good at stopping Uros. Now we get to play the Uro. I guess I'll Bauble and see what's on top of my opponent's deck. And reduce the number of instants and sorceries I need to exile. Lorien Revealed. So that is going to get them their island. But we will have Uro in play. Okay. Okay. So they're going to get to Lorien Revealed and get their island, but we're drawing a card here. Okay. So we'll get it. We shan't have a hard time filling up our graveyard now. And they've put a lot of resources into fighting this Uro, so they got 2 cards left here. So I don't hate a land here, so I can Dragon's Rage, Bolt, and then still play Uro. Okay, Force of Will's probably not a bad one. I think it makes sense to do this with a Taiga. Definitely going to be filling up the graveyard here. Bolting the Baleful Strix. Putting whatever I find in the graveyard. Yeah, Wasteland counts. Okay. Kolaghan's Command. Yeah, I guess we're forcing this one here. I mean, it puts more cards in the graveyard is the thing. And there is the Delirium. All right, so we're going to have a bunch of stuff going on against our opponent's 2 cards here in 4 mana. And there's the concession. So, yeah, finding a Stifle there was clutch. And that is the thing about playing Grixis Control, is it's always going to be pretty weak against Stifle. So here's a spot where Pyroclasm, I'm sure they're playing the Bowmasters. This is their list. You got 4 Bowmasters. I'm really not excited about the Bolt. It does hit Sorin the Merciless. Well, and even not very effectively because it has 4 loyalty. Anyway, boarding out a bunch of bolts here. Trimming on Stifle. Force. Yeah, probably 2 of each is fine. Gonna want to trim on some bolts. Yeah, maybe we'll just trim all the bolts and count on Pyroclasm. I do play 4 Bowmasters, though. Well, maybe I don't need Force, and Daze is okay against their deck. They do play... I mean, they play a bunch of basics, but they're also 3 colors, and that can make them weak to Wasteland, so I can't really board out Wasteland. Surgical can be good against their recursion strats with Snapcaster and the Kolaghan's command. Don't think I can really bring that in, though. A Pyroclasm. Maybe this is just too... It'd be really bad if they have, like, a Planeswalker and I can't Pyroclasm it. I mean, Brazen Borrower is not the most exciting, but it is some kind of threat. Alright. Well, this hand has the Stifle and the Wasteland. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep. It's a grindy matchup. I mean, 4 lands is a lot, but Stifle and Wasteland are kind of what we want to see here. They're really not going to crack. Okay, Pyroblast is a great draw. Let's put the Volcanic Island out there in Bauble. Drawing another Delta. Okay. Bauble trigger. It's a card that's not a land, so it's pretty excellent. They are declining to fetch. We do hit a land. 1 in 3 draws is pretty okay with me. Yeah, I'm going to stifle your Delta. I think I almost Hydroblasted it. I'm going to stifle your Delta. So if they have like Flusterstorm here, that's probably pretty good. Looks like they've got Pyroblast, though. It puts my opponent in an awkward spot with their mana. I hope Basic Mountain is good for them. Well, I hope it's not, but it needs to be good for them. So yeah, let's grab Tropical Island. And I'll counter Pyroblast if it's red. Okay, so that resolves, and they are down on mana once again. Ooh, and they're passing the turn. Well, this would be the problem with the Grixis against the Stifle strat. But now we are flooding on lands after doing well on our draws. Okay. Well, I'm gonna just deploy this Brazen Borrower. It's probably just gonna need a removal spell. But I think that's okay. I don't know when it would not. It doesn't seem like Petty Theft is about to get much value, so. Alright, they're just gonna bolt it. Makes sense. Man, 3 lands in a row. Alright, well the opponent's bricking also at least. I'm gonna continue to fetch to thin while I've got all these lands in my hand. And a fetch land in reserve to shuffle stuff away with. Might as well grab the Taiga. Brainstorm, finally. They could just have Pyroblast here is the thing. But we've hit the nut draw basically with Uro here. Carpet does protect us from Blood Moon. But I don't suppose that is about to happen. I would like to play Uro around like Graveyard Hate. I just don't know when I'm going to get the chance to do that. And I'll draw a card if I do the Uro now. And they don't have the black mana for Cling to Dust, which is definitely their best Graveyard Hate. It looks like they don't even play Surgical Extraction. I'm just going to keep this Wasteland in hand. Okay, well, they're continuing to pass the turn here, so if we get this Uro, they're discarding a Brainstorm. Wow. All right, exiling some non-instants and sorceries to save those for Murky Rege. I do have a Pyroblast. Okay. So we can use Wasteland to refill our graveyard. They're down 2 Pyroblasts. How many more do they have? Okay, I can also use Brainstorm to put a card in the graveyard. Okay, Stifle's a pretty good draw. Put these Murky Reges on top. Okay, if I play the Uro now, I don't get to hold up Stifle. So I'm going to hold up Stifle. Yeah, and I think the Uro is more important than Murktide. I could get down a big juicy Murktide, but if that gets Pyroblasted, then I'm really not doing a lot. I'll do the attack thing. And I'll try this Uro again. Okay. Well, the Uro happened. So I have to imagine that is good news. Force of Despair. Okay. At least we get to draw the card off Uro. And yeah, I can keep Wasteland in hand. And we can start playing Murktide Regents just as 3/3s. Man, the opponent really bricked. I was complaining about my drawing 3 lands in a row in my 19 land deck. But they have brought new meaning to the definition of bricking here. And we'll really get to start restocking the graveyard if I ever get to play any of these spells. All right, well, there's a concession. Okay, well, it's good to be back. Yeah, so we played Temur Stifle. We went 4-1. It was a little rusty at times, but we're getting our head back in the game. I mean, this league... a bunch of fair matchups for the most part, except for TES, which we lost to. I heard Brian Cook, I think mentioned on a podcast that he had won many games in a row with that particular build of the Epic Storm. And I got to think that this build, or this deck, with Stifle, it's got to be pretty okay against it. You just got to play a little bit tighter. As far as this build... overall, pretty darn good. Playing against Orcish Bowmaster is still like crazily irritating, but at least we have the Stifles to keep our opponent off their manas, and we did beat, the one Orcish Bowmaster deck we played against there, the Sultai Beans. It was nice to be playing Klothys and Uro and Murktide Regent with each other. So I guess the only things that I didn't really love is... the deck could use just a little more pressure. I could see maybe cutting like a Brazen Borrower and a Stifle for like 2 copies of Tarmogoyf. The sideboard, I don't know if I love the sideboard, all the one-ofs. Pick Your Poison is cool. I would like a Null Rod or a Collector Oath in here. Brotherhood's End, if you're up against goblins, this is pretty expensive. Although, it is also good against, Welder, Painter. But I would like another Meltdown. Maybe 3 Pyroblasts is kind of a lot. We already have Carpet to bring in against blue decks. I feel like there's something I want to do to optimize this sideboard. But I absolutely love playing the 1 copy of Klothys. Anyway, this harkened back to the days of yore. And, it's Canadian Threshold 2.0, I suppose, with no nimble mongoose, but what are you going to do? All right, well, that was fun. Yes, I am playing Magic the Gathering again, and we're going to be back with more content, so stay tuned. All right, thanks.